Okay. Now, I still haven't got my lighting right on this thing, and I'm gonna get it right one of these days. Nope, that ain't it. Okay, so let's try it. That's way too much. Uh, so welcome to nighttime poetry reading. Damn, it's just too much light. Okay, let's try something like this. Hello, Alden. How you doing tonight? Oh, that's a little better, I think. The light's a little better. Anyway, I like to do a live poetry reading, and then I do it in concert with TikTok. So if I have requests, I read them, and if I don't, I just read other stuff. I got some poetry books here. I take requests, that kind of thing. So yeah, if you like poetry, you came to the right place. And if you don't like poetry, I will warn you, that's what we do around here. So let me get my pad fired up here. I'm doing well, brother. It was a pretty busy week for me as well, but we made it through it. We're about to start another one. So yeah. All right. Well, maybe do a how about a William Blake? Here's William Blake, The Garden of Love. I went to the Garden of Love and saw what I never had seen. A chapel was built in the midst where I used to play on the green. And the gates of this chapel were shut, and thou shalt not read over the door. So I turned to the garden of love that so many sweet flowers bore, and I saw it was filled with graves and tombs and tombstones where flowers should be, and priests in black gowns were walking their rounds and binding with briars my joys and desires. William Blake, The Garden of Love. My dad used to read this one to me when I was a kid. This is one of the first William Blake pieces that I ever heard, and it was from my dad. And it's called The Lamb. Little lamb, who made thee? Dost thou know who made thee? Gave thee life and bid thee feed by the stream and o'er the mead? Gave thee clothing of delight, softest clothing, woolly bright. Gave thee such a tender voice, making all the vales rejoice. Little lamb, who made thee? Dost thou know who made thee? Little lamb, I'll tell thee. Little lamb, I'll tell thee. He is called by thy name, for he calls himself a lamb. He is meek and he is mild. He became a little child. I a child, and thou a lamb. We are called by his name. Little lamb, God bless thee. Little lamb, God bless thee. There's the lamb and the tiger. Inanna, good to see you. Yeah, Blake's awesome. He's one of the first poets that I ever remember sort of like hearing and then feeling something as a kid. Loved your reading of the Gettysburg Address. Good deal. I appreciate you saying that. Yeah, Oh Captain, My Captain is an amazing poem. I have a rendition. You ought to check out my friend Chris Tester. He's from Britain, Great Britain, and it's on my poetry playlist. And oh man, he's amazing. He's like classically trained. He went to drama school, all that kind of stuff. So he's like a real bona fide actor. And I don't know if I've ever heard it more beautifully read than the way Chris Tester reads "Oh Captain, My Captain," and it's on my like I said, my playlist on poetry. Check him out too, because wow, he's got my favorite. Like his is my favorite rendition. And I listen to a lot of poetry. There's a lot of poets that I like. or a lot of narrators that I like. Yeah, we did the Southern Brutus and British Cassius a while back. So yeah, the same guy reads "Oh Captain, My Captain," and it'll just, I mean, I've listened to it about 100 times, and I just get like emotional listening. It's gorgeous. I love what he did with it. Okay, so here is Blake's The Tiger, kind of his follow-up to The Lamb, and he mentions it in here, which I really like. The Tiger. Tiger, tiger, burning bright in the forests of the night, what immortal hand or eye could frame thy fearful symmetry? In what distant deeps or skies burnt the fire of thine eyes? On what wings dare he aspire? What the hand dare seize the fire? And what shoulder and what art could twist the sinews of thy heart? And when thy heart began to beat, what dread hand and what dread feet? What the hammer, what the chain? In what furnace was thy brain? What the anvil? What dread grasp dare its deadly terrors clasp? When the stars threw down their spears and watered heaven with their tears, did he smile his work to see? Did he who made the lamb make thee? Tiger, tiger, burning bright in the forests of the night, what immortal hand or eye dare frame thy fearful symmetry? William Blake, The Tiger. Here's one by Robert Frost called Desert Places. Snow falling and night falling fast, oh fast. In a field I looked into going past, and the ground almost covered smooth in snow, but a few weeds and stubble showing last. The woods around it have it, it is theirs. All animals are smothered in their lairs. I am too absent-spirited to count. The loneliness includes me unawares. And lonely as it is, that loneliness will be more lonely ere it will be less. A blanker whiteness of benighted snow with no expression, nothing to express. They cannot scare me with their empty spaces between stars, on stars where no human race is. I have seen it. I have it in me so much nearer home to scare myself with my own desert places. It was Robert Frost, Desert Places. Here's one also by Robert Frost, Neither out far nor in deep. The people along the sand all turn and look one way. They turn their back on the land. They look at the sea all day. As long as it takes to pass, a ship keeps raising its hull. The wetter ground like grass reflects a standing gull. The land may vary more, but wherever the truth may be, the water comes ashore and the people look at the sea. They cannot look out far, they cannot look in deep. But when was that ever a bar to any watch they keep? Robert Frost, Neither out far nor in deep. Here's another Robert Frost, Come In. As I came to the edge of the woods, thrush music, hark. Now if it was dusk outside, inside it was dark. Too dark in the woods for a bird by sleight of wing to better its perch for the night, though it still could sing. The last of the light of the sun that had died in the west still lived for one song more in a thrush's breast. Far in the pillared dark, thrush music went, almost like a call to come into the dark and lament. But no, I was out for stars. I would not come in. I meant not even if asked, and I hadn't been. Robert Frost. Come in. Spring pools. Spring pools, Robert Frost. These pools that, though in forests, still reflect the total sky almost without defect, and like the flowers beside them, chill and shiver, will like the flowers beside them soon be gone, and yet not out by any brook or river, but up by roots to bring dark foliage on. The trees that have it in their pent-up buds to darken nature and be summer woods, let them think twice before they use their powers to blot out and drink up and sweep away these flowery waters and these watery flowers from snow that melted only yesterday. Robert Frost, Spring Pools. Frost is my favorite poet. Do you have a favorite Frost poem? Here's one, Acquainted with the Night. I have been one acquainted with the night. I have walked out in rain and back in rain. I have outwalked the furthest city light. I have looked down the saddest city lane. I have passed by the watchman on his beat and dropped my eyes, unwilling to explain. I have stood still and stopped the sound of feet when far away an interrupted cry came over houses from another street, but not to call me back or say goodbye. And further still at an unearthly height, one luminary clock against the sky proclaimed that time was neither wrong nor right. I have been one acquainted with the night. Hate to say it, but that's that's don't hate to say that. That's a great one. I mean, there's a reason why people like it. It's really good. Let's read that one. Can you read anything by Wordsworth and Rudyard Kipling? Yes, absolutely, absolutely. Let's do The Road Not Taken real quick. Two roads diverged in a yellow wood, and sorry I could not travel both and be one traveler. Long I stood, and looked down one as far as I could to where it bent in the undergrowth. Then took the other, as just as fair, and having perhaps the better claim, because it was grassy and wanted wear, though as for that the passing there had worn them really about the same. And both that morning equally lay in leaves no step had trodden black. Oh, I kept the first for another day. Yet knowing how way leads on to way, I doubted if I should ever come back. I shall be telling this with a sigh somewhere ages and ages hence. Two roads diverged in a wood, and I took the one less traveled by, and that has made all the difference. That's great. I think that's great to read to your kids, and that's important. My dad used to do that to me, and that's that's why I still like poetry, because he used to do that when I was a kid. You bet. That's such a good one. Such a good one. Jubes. What's up, K Jones? Okay, so we'll do Wordsworth, and then we'll get over to If. Do some Rudyard Kipling. Let's see, what do we got here? Here's one called It is a Beauteous Evening, Calm and Free by William Wordsworth. It is a beauteous evening, calm and free. The holy time is quiet as a nun, breathless with adoration. The broad sun is sinking down in its tranquility. The gentleness of heaven broods o'er the sea. Listen, the mighty being is awake, and doth with his eternal motion make a sound like thunder everlastingly. Dear child, dear girl that walkest with me here, if thou appear untouched by solemn thought, thy nature is not therefore less divine. Thou liest in Abraham's bosom all the year, and worshipest at the temple's inner shrine, God being with thee when we know it not. It is a beauteous evening, calm and free. William Wordsworth. Do If by Rudyard Kipling. Absolutely. I'm glad. It's always good to see you on here, and you always have great poetry tastes by my judgment. You're very welcome. You're very welcome. Okay. If by Rudyard Kipling. If you can keep your head when all about you are losing theirs and blaming it on you, if you can trust yourself when all men doubt you, but make allowance for their doubting too, if you can wait and not be tired by waiting, or being lied about, don't deal in lies, or being hated, don't give way to hating, and yet don't look too good nor talk too wise, if you can dream and not make dreams your master, if you can think and not make thoughts your aim, if you can meet with triumph and disaster and treat those two impostors just the same, and if you can bear to hear the truth you've spoken twisted by knaves to make a trap for fools, or watch the things you gave your life to broken and stoop and build them up with worn out tools, if you can make one heap of all your winnings and risk it on one turn of pitch and toss and lose and start again at your beginnings and never breathe a word about your loss, if you can force your heart and nerve and sinew to serve your turn long after they're gone, and so hold on when there's nothing in you except the will which says to them, hold on. If you can talk with crowds and keep your virtue, or walk with kings, nor lose the common touch, if neither foes nor loving friends can hurt you, if all men count with you, but none too much, if you can fill the unforgiving minute with 60 seconds worth of distance run, yours is the earth and everything that's in it, and which is more, you'll be a man, my son. If by Rudyard Kipling. Great suggestion. Great suggestion. Thank you. Yeah, wasn't that a good one? I like that one. That was another early one that my dad read to me as a kid, and I really liked. Do you have any Donne? I do have some Donne. Let's see. You're very welcome. You're very welcome. That's a great suggestion. I really like Rudyard Kipling. He had so many great poems and short stories. Just an incredible writer. All right. let's see, do you have any poems aimed toward daughters? I'm confident, yes, but I can't think of any right off. I'll have to think of that. Uh, Alden on YouTube is asking um, any poems aimed toward daughters. So if anybody can help me out, um, let me know. Poem aimed toward daughters. I mean, I know there's some good ones. I'm not thinking of any right off. We'll hook you up, Alden. I'm on, so I've got my YouTube live and my TikTok live going. So between the two, we will double team this. We'll get it done. Jay, yes, taking request to be or not to be. Yeah, absolutely. Let's do that. Okay, first we're doing Donne, then we're doing the pessimist, and then we can do some Hamlet. John Donne. Here's John Donne, a lecture upon the shadow. Stand still, and I will read to thee a lecture, love in love's philosophy. These 3 hours that we have spent walking here, 2 shadows went along with us, which we ourselves produced. But now the sun is just above our heads. We do those shadows tread, and to brave clearness all things are reduced. So whilst our infant loves did grow, disguises did and shadows flow from us and our cares. But now 'tis not so. That love hath not attained the highest degree, which is still diligent lest others see. Except our loves at this noon stay, we shall new shadows make the other way. As the first were made to blind others, these which come behind will work upon ourselves and blind our eyes. If our loves faint and westwardly decline, to me thou falsely thine, and I to render mine actions shall disguise. The, the morning, the morning shadows wear away, but these grow longer all the day. But oh, love's day is short, if love decay. Love is a growing or a full constant light, and his first minute, afternoon, is night. John Donne, a lecture upon the shadow. Let's see if we can do the pessimist. Okay, the pessimist. Nothing to do but work, nothing to eat but food, nothing to wear but clothes, to keep one from going nude. Nothing to breathe but air, quick as a flash 'tis gone. Nowhere to fall but off, nowhere to stand but on. Nothing to comb but hair, nothing to sleep but in bed, nothing to weep but tears, nothing to bury but dead. Nothing to sing but songs, ah well, alas, alack, nowhere to go but out, nowhere to come but back. Nothing to see but sights, nothing to quench but thirst, nothing to have but we've got, thus through life we are cursed. Nothing to strike but a gate, sorry, nothing to strike but a gate, everything moves that goes. Nothing at all but common sense can ever withstand these woes. It's a good one. W.B. Yeats, A Prayer for My Daughter. That sounds great. I don't think I know that one, but let's definitely do that one. Um, the yeah, Tom Hiddleston reading Funeral Blues. It doesn't get any better than that. Doesn't get any better than that. Okay, let's do to be or not to be. And then we'll do W.B. Yeats. Reminds me of my dad. That's fun. Yeah, Donne was incredible. He had some amazing rhymes for sure. Mom's favorite. That's really cool. Absolutely. Okay, here is To Be or Not to Be from Hamlet. To be or not to be, that is the question. Whether 'tis nobler in the mind to suffer the slings and arrows of outrageous fortune, or to take arms against a sea of troubles, and by opposing end them. To die, to sleep no more, and by a sleep to say we end the heartache and the thousand natural shocks that flesh is heir to. 'Tis a consummation devoutly to be wished. To die, to sleep perchance to dream. Ah, there's the rub. For in that sleep of death, what dreams may come when we have shuffled off this mortal coil must give us pause. There's the respect that makes calamity of so long life. For who could bear the whips and scorns of time, the oppressor's wrong, the proud man's contumely, the pangs of desprised love, the law's decay, the insolence of office, and the spurns that patient merit of the unworthy takes when he himself might his quietus make with a bare bodkin? Who would fardels bear to grunt and sweat under a weary life, but that the dread of something after death, the undiscovered country from whose bourne no traveller returns, puzzles the will, and makes us rather bear those ills we have than fly to others that we know not of? Thus conscience doth make cowards of us all, and thus the native hue of resolution is sicklied o'er the pale cast of thought, and enterprises of great pith and moment with this regard their currents turn awry and lose the name of action. Hamlet. Yeah, when you got good writing, you don't want to just hack through it. You want to sort of honor the good writing by taking your time, but also a lot of the time, it's it's to go. When you read, you're reading faster than you realize to the hearer, generally. So you kind of want to intentionally slow down and sort of let it, because like Hamlet, a lot of people say he's like indecisive. Maybe he is, but he's a thinker. He thinks. And think about it, when you're thinking through something by yourself, you're not talking to anybody, you think slow, like, yes, but what about them? Well, you know what I mean? So he's thinking through all these things. And yeah. Melody, what's going on? Good to see you in here tonight. Okay, W.B. Yeats, A Prayer for My Daughter. Do that one. Okay. A Prayer for My Daughter by William Butler Yeats. Once more the storm is howling, and half hid under this cradle hood and cover lid, my child sleeps on. There is no obstacle but Gregory's wood, and one bare hill whereby the haystack and roof leveling wind, bred on the Atlantic, can be stayed. And for an hour I have walked and prayed because of the great gloom that is in my mind. I have walked and prayed for this young child an hour, and heard the sea winds scream upon the tower, and under the arches of the bridge, and scream in the elms above the flooded stream, imagining in excited reverie that the future years had come, dancing to a frenzied drum of the murderous innocence of the sea. May she be granted beauty, and yet not beauty to make a stranger's eye distraught, or hers before a looking glass. For such, being made beautiful over much, consider beauty a sufficient end, lose natural kindness, and may be a heart reveling intimacy that chooses right and never find a friend. Helen, being chosen, found life flat and dull, and later had much trouble from a fool, while that great queen that rose out of the spray, being fatherless, could have her way, yet chose a bandy-legged smith for man. It's certain that fine women eat a crazy salad with their meat, whereby the horn of plenty is undone. Excuse me. In courtesy, I'd have her chiefly learned. Hearts are not had as a gift, but hearts are earned by those that are not entirely beautiful. Yet many that have played the fool for beauty's very self has charm made wise, and many a poor man that has roved, loved, and thought himself beloved from a glad kindness cannot take his eyes. May she become a flourishing hidden tree, that all her thoughts may like the linnet be, and have no business but dispersing round their magnanimities of sound, nor but in merriment begin a chase, nor but in merriment a quarrel. Oh, may she live like some green laurel rooted in one dear perpetual place. My mind, because the minds that I have loved, the sort of beauty that I have approved, prosper but little, has dried up of late, yet knows that to be choked with hate may well be of all evil chances chief. If there's no hatred in a mind, assault and battery of the wind can never tear the linnet from the leaf. And intellectual hatred is the worst. Let her think opinions are cursed. So let her think opinions are cursed. Have I not seen the loveliest woman born out of the mouth of plenty's horn, because of her opinionated mind, barter that horn and every good by quiet natures understood, for an old bellows full of angry wind? Excuse me. Considering that, all hatred driven hence, the soul recovers radical innocence and learns at last that it is self delighting, self appeasing, self affrighting, and that its own sweet will is heaven's will. She can, though every face should scowl, and every windy quarter howl, or every bellows burst, be happy still. And may her bridegroom bring her to a house where all's accustomed, ceremonious, for arrogance and hatred are the wares peddled in the thoroughfares. How but in custom and in ceremony are innocence and beauty born? Ceremony's a name for the rich horn, and custom for the spreading laurel tree. W.B. Yeats, A Prayer for My Daughter. Great suggestion and honor. Thank you. Funeral Blues by Auden. W.H. Auden, I think. Obviously, this is Auden, as you say, Tom Hiddleston. I don't think it gets any better than Tom Hiddleston reading poetry. So this is this is not like I'm gonna try to do it like him. This is I'm adding to the body of work. You know what I mean? I don't think anybody I don't think a great poem can be read too many times by too many people. You know what I mean? I love to hear different people's take on it, and without the no competition. You know what I mean? This is your take on it is right. As an actor, I just want to hear it. You know what I mean? I like that kind of thing. All right, funeral blues by W.H. Auden. Stop all the clocks. Cut off the telephone. Prevent the dog from barking with a juicy bone. Silence the pianos, and with muffled drum, bring out the coffin. Let the mourners come. Let aeroplanes circle moaning overhead, scribbling on the sky the message, he is dead. Put crape bows round the white necks of the public doves. Let the traffic policemen wear black cotton gloves. He was my north, my south, my east and west, my working week and my Sunday rest, my noon, my midnight, my talk, my song. I thought that love would last forever. I was wrong. The stars are not wanted now. Put out every one. Pack up the moon and dismantle the sun. Pour away the ocean and sweep up the wood, for nothing now can ever come to any good. Funeral Blues, W.H. Auden. Let's see, Vivian Song. Let's see how long that one is. Excuse me. Okay, yeah, we can definitely do this one. Vivian's Song by Alfred Lord Tennyson. In love, if love be love, if love be ours, faith and unfaith can ne'er be equal powers. Unfaith in aught is want of faith in all. It is the little rift within the lute that by and by will make the music mute, and ever widening slowly silence all. The little rift within the lover's lute, or little pitted speck in garnered fruit, that rotting inward slowly moulders all. It is not worth the keeping, let it go. But shall it? Answer, darling, answer no, and trust me not at all, or all in all. Vivian's Song, Lord Tennyson. Invictus. Invictus. All right, Invictus by William Ernest Henley. Out of the night that covers me, black as the pit from pole to pole, I thank whatever gods may be for my unconquerable soul. In the fell clutch of circumstance, I have not winced nor cried aloud. Under the bludgeonings of chance, my head is bloody but unbowed. Beyond this place of wrath and tears looms but the horror of the shade, and yet the menace of the years finds and shall find me unafraid. It matters not how strait the gate, how charged with punishments the scroll. I am the master of my fate. I am the captain of my soul. Invictus, William Ernest Henley. Country Girl, hey, how you doing? You got a military question? Shoot. I may not know the answer, but if I do, I will let you know. Oh, your brother's getting deployed. Well, I'm very thankful for guys like your brother. Do you know where he's going? Okay. What branch is he in? Army. Okay. Very nice. Good deal. Well, those are really good places to go. I haven't been to Poland. I've been to Germany. He's a sergeant. Okay, good deal. Um, so he's got some folks under him. Got a little. He's in charge of some stuff. That's good. He's gonna be okay. The, those are good. That's a good. Those are good places. Yep. And you. Thank you very much to your brother for his service and everybody that's deploying with him. God bless him. Keep him safe. I'm really sorry to hear that. It's I'm really sorry to hear that. I lost some friends over there myself. Well, Germany, Poland is a lot different than Iraq, Afghanistan. You know what I mean? They're kind of in Germany, Poland area. My understanding is they're kind of held in reserve, and it's different than what was going on in Iraq and Afghanistan. So it's a different situation, even though they're deploying. It's a different situation, and I think a better situation. But yeah, just think about him, pray for him. We'll be praying for him too. All right, let's see. The guest house. This being human is a guest house. Every morning, a new arrival, a joy, a depression, a meanness, some momentary awareness comes as an unexpected visitor. Welcome and entertain them all, even if they're a crowd of sorrows who violently sweep your house empty of its furniture. Still treat each guest honorably. He may be clearing you out for some new delight. The dark thought, the shame, the malice, meet them at the door laughing and invite them in. Be grateful for whoever comes, because each has been sent as a guide from beyond. The guest house. Good one. Well, remember that the news, they don't think they're doing their job unless they have you scared out of your wits. So if you're scared, they're doing their job. And that's not real news. You know what I mean? So I wouldn't, I mean, it's not that you don't worry about them, but don't listen to the news. The news, for the most part, and I saw this firsthand in overseas, they're a bunch of lying, conniving people that want. They're a business, right? They have to sell ads, so they want you sitting there like, oh God, what's going to happen next? Oh my goodness, they want you to do that. Okay, that's how they make their money. And anyway, so I wouldn't worry about that. The less you watch the news, probably the better off you're going to be. Let's see what else we got. I just put a bunch of my, not a bunch, but 8 Emily Dickinson poems, because a lot of hers are really short. So I put 8 of them together and then put it on YouTube. So if you like Emily Dickinson, you should check that out. But she has a ton of great ones. And let me see, where's one of my favorites? Oh, here's one that I really like. Emily Dickinson, tell all the truth, but tell it slant. Tell all the truth, but tell it slant. Success in circuit lies too bright for our infirm delight. The truth's superb surprise, as lightning to the children eased, with explanation kind. The truth must dazzle gradually, or every man be blind. I like that one. Don't lie, but you don't, you need to, sometimes you can cherry pick which parts of the truth you tell. Excuse me. As imperceptibly, easy for you to say, as imperceptibly as grief, the summer lapsed away, too inceptible, this is kicking my butt, too imperceptible at last to seem like perfidy, a quietness distilled as twilight long begun, or nature spending with herself sequestered afternoon. The dusk drew earlier in, the morning foreign shone, a courteous yet harrowing grace as guests that would be gone. And thus without a wing or service of a keel, our summer made her light escape into the beautiful. Yeah, Nana, you're right. Most people are not. And you're sure not going to get real truth watching network television or cable television. You know what I mean? But I had a friend that was, he was a Christian recording artist. So he was very well known at the time. And all the 24-hour news stations are like this. But since he was a Christian and Fox News is, their audience is conservative, a lot of Christians, he said they contacted him like, hey, can you come be a contributor? And that way, when there's an issue, we'll call you and you can come on and be the talking head and give us the Christian perspective on things. And he said, okay, well, what does that, sure, I'm interested. What does that involve? And they said, well, what we'd do is we'd bring you on and it'll be Shepard Smith or at the time, Bill O'Reilly or, whoever, Martha McCallum, whoever the anchor is. And they'll bring on you and then they'll bring on like a liberal person who's sort of give the liberal take on things. And the main thing is we just want you to be like real aggressive and defend your case and like be really bombastic and be ready to fight, verbally spar, all this kind of stuff. And my friend, he's an artist and he's very like shy and withdrawn in a lot of ways. And he was like, absolutely not. I'm not doing that. They're not even interested in the news. A lot of these, and I'm not picking on Fox News. I'm saying the news. They need people to be all worked up into a lather. That's why no, you're exactly right. And exactly. I mean, there's a place, the Apostle Paul says something like basically don't be argumentative for the sake of it. You know what I mean? There's some things that if it's the right thing and it's the truth, then be stubborn and go for it. But when it's like, I'm not going to get on there and argue with someone about, Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift. Like, what do I think about that? I don't care about that. Yeah, but I'm not going to get in an argument about it. You know what I mean? And that was how he was going to make his money, is arguing about stuff that, you know, uh, grandfather's a paratroop. Nice. Do you know what division was he in? Was he in like 101st or the 82nd or one of the other ones? That's fantastic. Going off, Dickinson could read the one about because I could not stop for death. Um, Dad was a paratrooper in World War II. That's awesome. Are troops getting killed overseas in Poland? Not in Poland. That's very much a safe zone. That's where we've got troops. We've had troops over there since the end of the Cold War, really, right? There's some places we were right after World War II, after we sort of put down the fascist um, threat. Well, then we started worrying about the communist threat from Russia. So we've had people in Poland for a long time, since end of World War II. We've had people over there, and in Germany. So we've been over there like 60 years. So just because he's going over there, I just wouldn't worry about it. Now the news is going to try and make you scared, but just don't listen to them. Yeah, because I could not stop for death. Emily Dickinson. Because I could not stop for death, he kindly stopped for me. The carriage held but just ourselves and immortality. We slowly drove, he knew no haste, and I had put away my labor and my leisure too, for his civility. We passed the school where children strove at recess in the ring. We passed the fields of gazing grain. We passed the setting sun, or rather, he passed us. The dews drew quivering and chill, for only gossamer my gown, my tippet only tulle. We paused before a house that seemed the swelling of the ground. The roof was scarcely visible, the cornice in the ground. Since then, 'tis centuries, and yet feels shorter than the day I first surmised the horses' heads were toward eternity. Emily Dickinson, because I could not stop for death. Here's another one by Emily. I started early, took my dog, and visited the sea. The mermaids in the basement came out to look at me, and frigates in the upper floor extended hempen hands, presuming me to be a mouse aground upon the sands. But no man moved me, till the tide went past my simple shoe, and past my apron, and my belt, and past my bodice too, and made as he would eat me up, as wholly as a dew upon a dandelion sleeve. And then I started too. And he followed, close behind. I felt his silver heel upon my ankle, then my shoes would overflow with pearl, until we met the solid town, no one he seemed to know, and bowing with a mighty look at me, the sea withdrew. And here's another one. A bird came down the walk. He did not know I saw. He bit an angleworm in halves and ate the fellow raw. And then he drank a dew from a convenient grass, and then he hopped sideways to the wall to let a beetle pass. He glanced with rapid eyes that hurried all around. They looked like frightened beads, I thought. He stirred his velvet head. Like one in danger, cautious, I offered him a crumb, and he unrolled his feathers and rode him softer home. Then oars divide the ocean, two silver for a seam, or butterflies off banks of noon leap plashless as they swim. That is quite a war trophy. It's awesome. I think a lot of folks today, they'll say things like, we're fighting fascism, and they'll point to something that's like not fascist and be like, that's fascism. Those guys, your grandpa, those were real fascists. That was the original Antifa. And they were doing the Lord's work, baby. They freed a continent. These guys jumped in June of 44. Man, that's awesome. Jubes, good night. Have a good one. Thanks for swinging by. Yeah, I've heard. I had a couple of friends that were paratroopers in World War II, and that I've heard that kind of thing. Those paratroopers knew how to go to Paris and live it up. Yeah, I mean, a museum would definitely be interested. I'm quite sure of that. Yes, I do. I do. There was one fellow that was a paratrooper that I talked to that he's from, backwoods Mississippi. So he's just a redneck, and he's the kind of person that, if you say hello, you kind of expect to be greeted back, which I don't think that's that's not a Mississippi Southern thing. That's just common decency anywhere in the world. You say hello to someone. It's nice to say, hey, how you doing? Well, he said the Dutch were awesome. The Germans were awesome. Like once, the German town folk, um, any decent person in the world is going to return. You don't even have to know English. I mean, I was in, um, or know the same language. I was in um, Iraq, and the gate guards at the base we were at were Ugandan, and they knew English, but a lot of the time it was just we didn't even talk to them. It was like, hey, and they're like, hey, and it was, and I'm actually the goddaughter of a Ugandan soldier who's in Kampala, Uganda, because we became good friends over there. It's just nice to, you just say hey to someone, whether you know their language or not. You just greet them. Well, this paratrooper, there are two of them. They had been out night on the town. We're three sheets to the wind, and we're coming across one of the river bridges. I guess the Seine River or whatever. Um, the in this they were walking down, and they saw this couple, a French couple, coming like down the other side. And one of these rednecks, southern rednecks, was like, "Hey, buddy, how you doing?" He's sort of even if the person didn't understand English, they know he's greeting them. They're like, "Hey, what's going on?" He's plastered, and the French guy went like this and just stuck his nose in the air, and that infuriated the redneck paratrooper. He walked over there and just grabbed him and threw him over the edge into the river and walked off. I hope he was okay. But yeah, those paratroopers were crazy. And when you've been fighting, the one of the best armies in history and winning, you're a rough and tumble fella. Because yes, the German army was incredible, and they did some amazing stuff without, like, you know, it's amazing that we beat them. Really, they were a crack unit. Annie, you speak so clearly. I've grown used to LA mush. I really appreciate you saying that, because I am Peekaboo. What's going on? Good to see you. I am from um, the South, the deep South. So when I was, when I leave, a lot of the times people can't understand. They used to not be able to understand me. So it's very nice to hear someone who's not from the deep South that can understand. That's yes, I'm glad to hear that. Taught him not to be rude. Exactly. Gave him a lesson in politeness. I hope he lived to tell the tale, because that's quite a fall from the Seine Bridge, I believe. I mean, I'm sure there's multiple bridges, but I'm pretty sure if they're big enough for like boats to go under, it'd be a pretty good drop in the middle of the night. Animator, interesting. That's so cool. What kind of stuff do you animate? Like what's your style? I'm not an animator, but I'm terribly interested in animation. Like I just think it fascinates me. Hand drawn, very cool, very cool. That's awesome. That's so cool, Annie. Um, so you're saying as an animator, you could tell what I'm saying if you were to draw me. You know what I'm saying? It, like that? Is that what you're saying? That my enunciation, you could see the words. That's great. Yes. I'm glad to hear that. Thank you. Okay, here's more William Wordsworth. I wandered lonely as a cloud, aka daffodils. I wandered lonely as a cloud that floats on high o'er vales and hills, when all at once I saw a crowd, a host of golden daffodils, beside the lake, beneath the trees, fluttering and dancing in the breeze, continuous as the stars that shine and twinkle on the Milky Way. They stretched in never-ending line along the margins of a bay. 10,000 saw I at a glance, tossing their heads in sprightly dance. The waves beside them danced, but they outdid the sparkling waves in glee. A poet could not but be gay in such a jocund company. I gazed and gazed, but little thought what wealth the show to me had brought. For oft when on my couch I lie in vacant or in pensive mood, they flash upon that inward eye, which is the bliss of solitude. And then my heart with pleasure fills and dances with the daffodils. I am in Mississippi, so when I'm in my voiceover mode, like if I'm doing a commercial, you don't hear the South; it goes away. But if I'm talking and I'm interacting, then you'll hear more of the South. Well, I should say some. There are some companies, especially Texas companies. Texas companies love an accent, so they want to hear the South. I mean, I'm talking big companies like you know, hospital clinics, stuff like that. They want to hear that Southern twang. But most other places, with the exception of maybe California, they want a mid-regional diction. Thank you, Annie. I really appreciate that. Means a lot. All right, let's do what do you call it? John Milton. On Time. Fly, envious time, till thou run out thy race. Call on the lazy, leaden-stepping hours, whose speed is but the heavy plummet's pace, and glut thyself with what thy womb devours, which is no more than what is false and vain, and merely mortal dross. So little is our loss, so little is thy gain. For when as each thing bad thou hast entombed, and last of all thy greedy self consumed, then long eternity shall greet our bliss with an individual kiss, and joy shall overtake us as a flood, when everything that is sincerely good and perfectly divine, with truth and peace and love, shall ever shine about the supreme throne of him to whose happy making sight alone, when once our heavenly guided soul shall climb, then all this earthy grossness quit. Attired with stars, we shall forever sit, triumphing over death and chance in thee, O time. On Time by John Milton. Here is one by John Donne called The Ecstasy. Where like a pillow on a bed, a pregnant bank swelled up to rest the violet's reclining head, sat we two, one another's best. Our hands were firmly cemented with a fast balm, which thence did spring, our eye beams twisted, and did thread our eyes upon one double string. So to intergraft our hands, as yet was all the means to make us one, and pictures in our eyes to get was all our propagation. As twixt two equal armies fate suspends uncertain victory, our souls, which to advance their state were gone out, hung twixt her and me. And whilst our souls negotiate there, we like sepulchral statues lay, all day the same our postures were, and we said nothing all the day. If any, so by love defined, that he soul's language understood, and by love were grown, and by good love were grown all mine, within convenient distance stood, he, though he knew it not, which soul spake, because both meant, both spake the same, might thence a new concoction take, and part far purer than he came. This ecstasy doth unperplex, we said, and tell us what we love. We see by this it was not sex. We saw not what did move, but all as several souls contain, mixture of things they knew not what. Love those mixed souls doth mix again, and make both one, each this and that. A single violet transplant, the strength, the color, and the size, all which before was poor and scant, redoubles still and multiplies. When love with one another so interanimates two souls, that abler soul which thence doth flow, deflects of loneliness controls. We then, who are this new soul, I know, of what we are composed and made, for the atomies of which we grow are souls, whom no change can invade. But oh alas, so long, so far, our bodies, why do we forbear? They're ours, though they're not we. We are the intelligences, they the sphere. We owe them thanks, because they thus did us, to us, at first convey, yielded their forces, sense to us, nor are dross to us, but LA. On man's heaven's influence works not so, but that it first imprints the air, so soul into the soul may flow, though it to body first repair, as our blood labors to beget spirits as like souls as it can, because such fingers need to knit that subtle knot which makes us man. So must pure lovers' souls descend to affections and to faculties, which sense may reach and apprehend, else a great prince in prison lies. To our bodies turn we then, that so weak men on love revealed may look. Love's mysteries and souls do grow, and yet the body in his book. And if some lover such as we have heard this dialogue of one, let him still mark us. He shall see small change when we're to bodies gone. Donne, The Ecstasy. Let's see if I can. I'll look that one up. I don't know that one. Let's see. It's my little poetry. My little thing is slow here. Okay. The night has 1,000 eyes. The night has 1,000 eyes, and the day but one. Yet the light of the bright world dies with the dying sun. The mind has 1,000 eyes, and the heart but one. Yet the light of a whole life dies when love is done. Francis William Bourdillon. I'm not sure how you say that. That was good. The night has 1,000 eyes. Kat, what's going on? Good to see you. Hope you're doing good. Okay, so on my YouTube channel, I do obviously longer stuff than I can put on TikTok. So TikTok is just a few minutes, but so if I love classic literature, stories, audiobooks. I'm doing Southern Jane Austen right now, but I'm wondering, I always like to hear people like what is, what kind of short story or longer poem, maybe too long for this, right? Usually I keep them pretty short on here just so we can, interact and things. What kind of long poem do you like or short story? 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 40 minutes, an hour, whatever. I'm always interested. So if you didn't mind sharing that with me, I would love to hear it. And also with like Halloween coming up, I've been doing some Edgar Allan Poe, and I'm doing some, some more sort of creepy stories and whatnot. Okay. Devouring time, blunt thou the lion's paws, and make the earth devour her own sweet brood. Pluck the keen teeth from the fierce tiger's jaws, and burn the long-lived phoenix in her blood. Make glad and sorry seasons as thou fleest, and do whate'er thou wilt, swift-footed time, to the wide world and all her fading sweets. But I forbid thee one most heinous crime. O carve not with thy hours my love's fair brow, nor draw no lines there with thine antique pen. Him in thy course untainted do allow for beauty's pattern to succeeding men. Yet do thy worst, old time. Despite thy wrong, my love shall in my verse ever live young. 1930s sea shanty put. That's really cool. That's really cool. I love this past week I was at the North Carolina Maritime Library, and it's gorgeous. I was looking through some paintings by John Stobart, who's one of my favorite artists, and they're all maritime themed, and it's really cool. Oh, that's cool. John Masefield's amazing. Love his poetry. Under the Harvest Floor by Carl Sandburg. Let's see here. Let's see what we got. Under the Harvest Moon by Carl Sandburg. Angel, hello. I used to live in South Carolina, and I just came through there last week twice. No big deal. I like South Carolina. That's a great state. Under the harvest moon, when the soft silver drips shimmering over the garden nights, Death, the gray mocker, comes and whispers to you as a beautiful friend who remembers. Under the summer roses, when the flagrant crimson lurks in the dust of the wild red leaves, Love with little hands comes and touches you with 1,000 memories and asks you beautiful, unanswerable questions. Very nice. Under the harvest moon. Yeah, I used to live in Columbia. I was stationed at Fort Jackson. And then I got into Revolutionary War history, especially in South Carolina, and started traveling all over the state looking at battlefields. So I like South Carolina. That was a good one. I have not read Under the Harvest Moon. That was good. Let's see. What's going on, 13 Fox Man? You know it. John Keats, Bright Star. Bright star, would I were steadfast as thou art, not in lone splendor hung aloft the night, and watching with eternal lids apart, like nature's patient, sleepless eremite, the moving waters at their priest-like task of pure ablution round earth's human shores, or gazing on the new soft fallen mask of snow upon the mountains and the moors. No, yet still steadfast, still unchangeable, pillowed upon my fair love's ripening breast, to feel forever its soft fall and swell, awake forever in a sweet unrest, still, still to hear her tender taken breath, and so live forever, or else swoon to death. Annie, thank you very much for swinging by. It was great having you. Hope you have a great night. Here's another John Keats, Ode on Melancholy. No, no, go not to Lethe, neither twist wolf's bane, tight-rooted for its poisonous wine, nor suffer thy pale forehead to be kissed by nightshade, ruby grape of Proserpine. Make not your rosary of yew-berries, nor yet the beetle, nor the death-moth be your mournful Psyche, nor the downy owl, a partner in your sorrow's mysteries, for shade to shade will come too drowsily, and drown the wakeful anguish of the soul. But when the melancholy fit shall fall, sudden from heaven like a weeping cloud that fosters the droop-headed flowers all, and hides the green hill in an April shroud, then glut thy sorrow on a morning rose, or on the rainbow of the salt sand wave, or on the wealth of globed peonies, or if thy mistress some rich anger shows, imprison her soft hand and let her rave, and feed deep, deep upon her peerless eyes. She dwells with beauty, beauty that must die, and joy, whose hand is ever at his lips, bidding adieu, and watch in aching pleasure nigh, turning to poison while the bee mouth sips. Aye, in the very temple of delight, veiled melancholy has her sovereign shrine, though seen of none save him whose strenuous tongue can burst joy's grape against his palate fine. His soul shall taste the sadness of her might, and be among her cloudy trophies hung. Ode on Melancholy by John Keats. Some Lord Tennyson. The eagle. He clasps the crag with crooked hands. Close to the sun in lonely lands, ringed with the azure world, he stands. The wrinkled sea beneath him crawls. He watches from his mountain walls, and like a thunderbolt he falls. Another Lord Tennyson. Break, break, break. Inanna, thank you so much. Hope you have a wonderful night. Hope to see you again soon. Break, break, break on thy cold gray stones, O sea. Break, break, break on thy cold gray stones, O sea. And I would that my tongue could utter the thoughts that arise in me. Oh, well for the fisherman's boy that he shouts with his sister at play. Oh, well for the sailor lad that he sings in his boat on the bay. And the stately ships go on to their haven under the hill. But oh, for the touch of a vanished hand and the sound of a voice that is still. Break, break, break at the foot of thy crags, O sea. But the tender grace of a day that is dead will never come back to me. Alfred Lord Tennyson, Break, Break, Break. Familiar with Dr. Zhivago? Not really. I know of a movie of that name. but I don't really, I haven't watched it. There's Meeting at Night by Robert Browning. The gray sea and the long black land, and the yellow half moon large and low, and the startled little waves that leap in fiery ringlets from their sleep as I gain the cove with pushing prow and quench its speed in the slushy sand. Then a mile of warm sea-scented beach, 3 fields to cross till a farm appears, a tap at the pane, the quick sharp scratch and blue spurt of a lighted match, and a voice less loud through its joys and fears than the 2 hearts beating each to each. It's like he's meeting up with old Elizabeth. Love After Love. Let's see. Love After Love by Derek Walcott. The time will come when with elation you will greet yourself arising at your own door, in your own mirror, and each will smile at the other's welcome and say, "Sit here, eat." You will love again the stranger who was yourself. Give wine, give bread, give back your heart to itself, to the stranger who has loved you all your life, whom you ignored for another who knows you by heart. Take down the love letters from the bookshelf, the photographs, the desperate notes. Peel your own image from the mirror. Sit, feast on your life. Love After Love, Derek Walcott. Carlo, what's going on, brother? Haven't seen you in a while. You know how TikTok is, you'll see somebody and like you'll realize, oh, it's been 2 weeks since I've seen him. So yeah, it's really good to see you. Hope you're doing well. How's your job? How's the voiceover going? Carlo's a great he's a great voice actor. I really like his poetry readings and his readings in general um, on TikTok. So sometime, like I know it's late right now, but sometime you need to hop on and read some classic poetry with me. Carlo's got a great voice, y'all. He's very soothing. One of those voices that it sounds like it's going to be okay. You know what I mean? You do. Well, you're really good at what you do. And I know that, life comes at us fast from time to time, but you're going to work through it and you're going to get back in the saddle and you're going to get where you want to go. Let us see. Some more classic poetry. I would like that, Carlo. Just let me know. Let me know what you want to do, brother. We'll definitely would love to do that. Yeah, y'all, if you like a soothing voice in poetry, you got to follow Carlo. He's got a great voice. Great voice. He's got one of those voices where I'm like, I want to hear him read Ulysses by Lord Tennyson, or you know what I mean, something. When you hear a voice, sometimes there's just you want to hear them their take on a poem you like. Here's one. Speaking of Lord Tennyson, "Crossing the Bar." Sunset and evening star, and one clear call for me. And may there be no moaning of the bar when I put out to sea. But such a tide as moving seems asleep, too full for sound and foam, when thou when that which drew from out the boundless deep turns again home. Twilight and evening bell, and after that the dark, and may there be no sadness of farewell when I embark. For though from out our bourne of time and place the flood may bear me far, I hope to see my pilot face to face when I have crossed the bar. Your podcast is great too. It filters in on my day job. That's awesome. Thank you for listening. And if you ever want to like come on and read a public domain poem or short story, I want to get you on there. You've got a great voice, and the audience would love to hear it. So I'm putting the ball in your court. If you ever want to do that, I can't pay anything as of right now, although I want to in the future. But if you come on, I will definitely link all your links, your website, your whatever you need. Lucy Larcom. What about Lucy Larcom? Got any thing in particular? Well, as the good book says, the laborer is worthy of his hire. So I I want to get to the point where I can offer, even if it's some sort of honorarium, it's sort of like, hey, here's some, if you be a guest, here's a little bit. But I'm not there. I'm not there yet on my podcast, but I want to get there. But in the meantime, um, definitely reach out, man. Reach out. Have a great night, Carla. Great to see you. Let us see. Is that a line, Mariah? Is that a line or um, is that a poem title or is that a line from a poem title? Okay. Excuse me. Let me look that up. Sarah Bergstrom, what's going on? Birthday shout out to my friend Mike Hunt. So it's Mike's birthday today. If so, a very happy birthday to you, Mike. Hope you're doing well. Hope you have many, many more. That you have a long and happy life. From thee would not stray. And that is Lucy Larcom. All right. Oh God, from thee we would not stray by Lucy Larcom. O God, from thee we would not stray. Reveal to us thyself the way. Recall us, claim us when we roam. Thou art our country and our home. With thee, in thee alone is rest. Thou art our east and thou our west. Our little lives of thine are part. No boundaries bar us from thy heart. Through starless night, through mist and gale, thou art the shore toward which we sail. We bid farewell to friends most kind, but never leave thy love behind. And none are alien, none are strange, met in the love that cannot change. We all are brethren in thy Son, the Father are the children one. Lucy Larcom. So good. Kind of reminds me of another gal that was a little after her, but kind of in the same, no, actually about the same time. Fanny Crosby. Sounds like her style of writing. Really like that. Vint USMC, how's it going? What's going on? Are you a Marine? With that name, you gotta be. You gotta be. Mariah, thank you so much for coming, and thank you for the great requests. Pleasure to have you. Let's see, Walt. I'm gonna read maybe a little Walt Whitman. Where I just got a brand new Leaves of Grass. I'd like it a lot, but now I can't find it. Oh well, we'll read something else. Read something else. Here is William Wordsworth. My heart leaps up. My heart leaps up when I behold a rainbow in the sky. So was it when my life began. So is it now. So is it now I am a man. So be it when I shall grow old, or let me die. The child is father of the man, and I could wish my days to be bound each to each by natural piety. Here's one, Lee Hunt. I first heard Tom Hiddleston read this one on YouTube or something, and it's just great, and I really like it. It's called Ginny Kissed Me. Ginny kissed me when we met, jumping from the chair she sat in. Time, you thief, who love to get sweets into your list, put that in. Say I'm weary, say I'm sad, say that health and wealth have missed me, say I'm growing old, but add, Ginny kissed me. I like that one. Here's one by Edna St. Vincent Millay called What Lips My Lips Have Kissed and Where and Why. What lips my lips have kissed and where and why I have forgotten, and what arms have lain under my head till morning. But the rain is full of ghosts tonight that tap and sigh upon the glass and listen for reply, and in my heart there stirs a quiet pain for unremembered lads that not again will turn to me at midnight with a cry. Thus in the winter stands the lonely tree, nor knows what birds have vanished one by one, yet knows its boughs more silent than before. I cannot say what loves have come and gone. I only know what summer sang in me, and little while that in me sings no more. Edna St. Vincent Millay. Here's Blanche Shoemaker Wagstaff. All paths lead to you. All paths lead to you. Where'er I stray, you are the evening star at the end of the day. All paths lead to you, hilltop or low. You are the white birch in the sun's glow. All paths lead to you. Where'er I roam, you are the lark song calling me home. Blanche Shoemaker Wagstaff. All paths lead to you. Here is On Love by Khalil Gibran. When love beckons to you, follow him, though his ways are hard and steep. And when his wings enfold you, yield to him, though the sword hidden among his pinions may wound you. And when he speaks to you, believe in him, though his voice may shatter your dreams as the north wind lays waste the garden. For even as love crowns you, so shall he crucify you. Even as he is for your growth, so is he for your pruning. Even as he descends to your height and caresses your tenderest branches that quiver in the sun, so shall he descend to your roots and shake them in their clinging to the earth. Like sheaves of corn, he gathers you unto himself. He threshes you to make you naked. He sifts you to free you from your husks. He grinds you to whiteness. He kneads you until you are pliant, and he assigns you to his sacred fire, that you may become sacred bread for God's sacred feast. Love gives not but itself, and takes not but from itself. Love possesses not, nor would it be possessed, for love is sufficient unto love. Khalil Gibran on Love. Ah, you bet. You bet. I'm glad you like that. It's got some great stuff. Here is Elizabeth Barrett Browning, If Thou Must Love Me. I think this is Sonnet 14, maybe. If thou must love me, let it be for naught, except for love's sake only. Do not say, I love her for her smile, her look, her way of speaking gently, for a trick of thought that falls in well with mine, and certes brought a sense of pleasant ease on such a day. For these things in themselves, beloved, may be changed, or change for thee. And love so wrought may be unwrought so. Neither love me for thine own dear pities wiping my cheeks dry. A creature might forget to weep who bore thy comfort long, and lose thy love thereby. But love me for love's sake, that evermore thou mayest love on through love's eternity. Elizabeth Barrett Browning, If Thou Must Love Me. Is Robert Burns, A Red, Red Rose. Oh, my love is like a red, red rose that's newly sprung in June. Oh, my love is like the melody that's sweetly played in tune. As fair art thou, my bonny lass, so deep in love am I, and I will love thee still, my dear, till all the sea's gone dry. Till all the sea's gone dry, my dear, and the rocks melt with the sun, and I will love thee still, my dear, while the sands of life shall run. And fare thee well, my only love, and fare thee well awhile, and I will come again, my love, though it were 10,000 mile. Well, that's a love poem. We're in this my book treasury of poems. We're in the love section. So here's William Shakespeare. Let me not to the marriage of true minds admit impediments. Love is not love, which alters when it alteration finds, or bends with remover to remove. Oh no, it is an ever fixed mark that looks on tempests and is never shaken. It is the star to every wandering bark, whose worth's unknown, although his height be taken. Love's not time's fool, though rosy lips and cheeks within his bending sickle's compass come. Love alters not with his brief hours and weeks, but bears it out, even to the edge of doom. If this be error, and upon me proved, I never writ, nor no man ever loved. This is, here is Lord Tennyson, If Love Be Love. In love, if love be love, if love be ours, faith and unfaith can e'er be equal powers. Unfaith in aught is want of faith in all. It is the little rift within the lute that by and by will make the music mute, and ever widening, slowly silence all. The little rift within the lover's lute, or little pitted speck and garnered fruit that rotting inward slowly moulders all. It is not worth the keeping. Let it go. But shall it? Answer, darling, answer no, and trust me not at all, or all in all. Lord Tennyson, If Love Be Love. Let's see. Sonnet. Neruda, Pablo Neruda. Sonnet 17. Let's see if we pull that up. All right, so here is Pablo Neruda, I Don't Love You As If You Were a Rose. I don't love you as if you were a rose of salt, topaz, or arrow of carnations that propagate fire. I love you as one loves certain obscure things, secretly, between the shadow and the soul. I love you as the plant that doesn't bloom, but carries the light of those flowers hidden within itself. And thanks to your love, the tight aroma that arose from the earth lives dimly in my body. I love you without knowing how, or when, or from where. I love you directly, without problems or pride. I love you like this because I don't know any other way to love, except in this form in which I am not, nor are you, so close that your hand upon my chest is mine, so close that your eyes close with my dreams. Pablo Neruda, sonnet number 17. Here's another Emily Dickinson. Hope is the thing with feathers that perches in the soul and sings the tune without the words and never stops at all. And sweetest in the gale is heard, and sore must be the storm that could abash the little bird that kept so many warm. I've heard it in the chillest land and on the strangest sea, yet never in extremity it asked a crumb of me. Hope is the thing with feathers, Emily Dickinson. Oh, you're welcome, Kat. You're very welcome. Here's one, Edmund Spenser. My love is like to ice. My love is like to ice, and I to fire. How comes it then that this her cold so great is not dissolved through my so hot desire, but harder grows the more I her entreat? Or how comes it that my exceeding heat is not allayed by her heart frozen cold, but that I burn much more in boiling sweat, and feel my flames augmented manifold? What more miraculous thing may be told, that fire, which all things melts, should harden ice, and ice, which is congealed with senseless cold, should kindle fire by wonderful device? Such is the power of love in gentle mind, that it can alter all the course of kind. Edmund Spenser. My love is like to ice. Emily Dickinson. I'm nobody. Who are you? Are you nobody too? Then there's a pair of us. Don't tell, they'd advertise, you know. How dreary to be somebody, how public, like a frog, to tell one's name the livelong June to an admiring bog. I like this one. Anne Campbell. There is always a place for you. There is always a place for you at my table. You never need to be invited. I'll share every crust as long as I'm able, and know you will be delighted. There is always a place for you by my fire, and though it may burn to embers, if warmth and good cheer are your desire, the friend of your heart remembers. There's always a place for you by my side, and should the years tear us apart, I will face lonely moments more satisfied with a place for you in my heart. Here's one, author unknown, but it's called My Church. My church has but one temple, wide as the world is wide, set with 1,000,000 stars, where 1,000,000 hearts abide. My church has no creed to bar a single brother man, but says, come thou and worship, to every one who can. My church has no roof, nor walls, nor floors save the beautiful sod, for fear I would seem to limit the love of the illimitable God. My church, author unknown. Robert Browning. Oh, never star was lost. Oh, never star was lost. Here we all aspire to heaven, and there is heaven above us. If I stoop into a dark, tremendous sea of cloud, it is but for a time. I press God's lamp close to my breast. Its splendor, soon or late, will pierce the gloom. I shall emerge someday. Robert Browning. Oh, never star was lost. Here is Ella Wheeler-Wilcox. Worthwhile. It is easy enough to be pleasant when life flows by like a song. But the man worthwhile is one who will smile when everything goes dead wrong. For the test of the heart is trouble, and it always comes with the years. And the smile that is worth the praises of earth is the smile that shines through tears. It is easy enough to be prudent when nothing tempts you to stray, when without or within no voice of sin is luring your soul away. But it's only a negative virtue until it is tried by fire, and the life that is worth the honor on earth is the one that resists desire. By the cynic, the sad, the fallen, who had no strength for the strife, the world's highway is cumbered today. They make up the sum of life. For the virtue that conquers passion, and the sorrow that hides in a smile, it is these that are worth the homage on earth, for we find them but once in a while. Ella Wheeler-Wilcox, Worthwhile. Mary Davis Reed, 1 year to live. If I had but 1 year to live, 1 year to help, 1 year to give, 1 year to love, 1 year to bless, 1 year of better things to stress, 1 year to sing, 1 year to smile, to brighten earth a little while, I think that I would spend each day in just the very self-same way that I do now. For from afar the call may come to cross the bar at any time, and I must be prepared to meet eternity. So if I have a year to live, or just a day in which to give a pleasant smile, a helping hand, a mind that tries to understand a fellow creature when in need, 'tis one with me, I take no heed, but try to live each day he sends to serve my gracious master's ends. Mary Davis Reed, 1 year to live. Here's Alan Seeger, I Have a Rendezvous with Death, from he's a World War One soldier participant. I have a rendezvous with death at some disputed barricade, when spring comes back with rustling shade and apple blossoms fill the air. I have a rendezvous with death when spring brings back blue days and fair. It may be he shall take my hand and lead me into his dark land, and close my eyes and quench my breath. It may be I shall pass him still. I have a rendezvous with death on some scarred slope of battered hill, when spring comes round again this year and the first meadow flowers appear. God knows 'twere better to be deep pillowed in silk and scented down, where love throbs out in blissful sleep, pulse nigh to pulse and breath to breath, where hushed awakenings are dear. But I've a rendezvous with death at midnight in some flaming town, when death trips north again this year, and I to my pledged word am true. I shall not fail that rendezvous. Alan Seeger. One more. We'll go. Here is Dylan Thomas. And death shall have no dominion. And death shall have no dominion. Dead men naked, they shall be one with the man in the wind and the west moon. When their bones are picked clean, and the clean bones gone, they shall have stars at elbow and foot. Though they go mad, they shall be sane. Though they sink through the sea, they shall rise again. Though lovers be lost, love shall not, and death shall have no dominion. And death shall have no dominion. Under the windings of the sea, they lying long shall not die windily, twisting on racks when sinews give way, strapped to a wheel, yet they shall not break. Faith in their hands shall snap in two, and the unicorn evils run them through. Split all ends up, they shan't crack, and death shall have no dominion. And death shall have no dominion. No more may gulls cry at their ears, or waves break loud on the seashores, where blew a flower. May a flower no more lift its head to the blows of the rain, though they be mad and dead as nails. Heads of the characters hammer through daisies, break in the sun, till the sun breaks down, and death shall have no dominion. All right, well, that's all I got for tonight. So y'all be good. Thank you very much for coming on to YouTube and TikTok, and had a really good time with y'all. And y'all have a good night.